Hi
Hi,
guys,
everyone.
this is Arielle and Zahabiyah.
We're here today with Building the House, a behind the scenes look at creating our new Needlepoint collective. It's going to be a peek into sourcing items, creating the brand, and working with our designers.
Yes, we're so excited to bring this series to you. We've been getting feedback that people want to hear about the journey, what we've got cooking up behind the scenes. So we thought this would be a fun and easy way for us to connect with you guys and give you a chance to get to know us a little bit better. And that's what today's episode is all about. Just kind of a get to know me for Zahabi and I to share our background and our needlepoint journey and how we became friends.
I live in San Diego right now. I have a husband. I've got three kids. They are 9, 6, and 3. And they are, I mean, they're everything. And they are loud and noisy and fight. And they're so funny and fun. Um, I don't know. I, I just love them. I love being a mom. And I grew up in Ohio. My background is South Asian. My parents are both from India. They're actually both from like the same small town. They came to the States in the early 80s, right after they were married. And I lived in Ohio my whole life. Then I went to school in Virginia. I lived in DC, and then my husband and I moved out to LA right after we got married in 2013. We lived in LA for I don't know, maybe 8-ish years. And then we moved down to San Diego about 4 years ago. And we are just like true Californians through and through now. Like it drops below 60 and we pull out our parkas. And I think that meshing our personal and professional now, I have been someone who I have my MBA. I went to school. I was always like, I'm gonna go down this professional path of like, and like have a career and be this like working mom and whatever. And I definitely was like someone that kind of struggled with finding like what their purpose was supposed to be. Um, and so like now that we're building this collective and this brand here, I don't know, it's been so fulfilling and so rewarding. And it's like I feel like everything's finally like coming together. So I don't know, that's me.
I just want to give you a hug.
That's like the worst part of us being apart.
I know it's the hardest part. How many times are we like, I just want to give you a hug right
I
now?
know. Ariel, why don't you start off and tell us how you got into needlepoint?
I feel like I've told this story so many times, but here, just for the record, my name is Arielle. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I picked up needlepoint kind of on a whim. I didn't know what it was. I did lots of crafts as a kid and was really into cross stitch. And so got a wild hair a couple summers ago, and I was like, I want to reconnect with my inner child, so to say, and wanted to just delve into some new hobbies or revisit some hobbies that I knew I liked at a younger age. And so I picked up some supplies for cross stitch. And in my search for looking into new patterns that I wanted to stitch, I stumbled upon what I now know is needlepoint. I had no recollection of needlepoint. I didn't grow up knowing about it. If I saw it, I didn't know what I was looking at, and then started down the rabbit hole that we all probably know too well on TikTok. Probably following a lot of you guys and seeing Whip Wednesdays and seeing people's hauls, and really got intrigued to want to know more. And so I got on Google and found a shop that was here local in Charlotte, and pulled up on them, and was able to pick up my first kit there with them, and the rest is kind of history.
What's your first kit?
My first kit was an Elizabeth Bradley flower. I
Okay.
don't have it near me to show, but it's I think like 10 mesh. If you're familiar with Elizabeth Bradley, it's kind of like very straightforward and a really great starting point because it's just five colors max in the project, and it came with everything that I needed. And it was so much fun. I picked it up right away and was already buying new canvases before I finished it. So yeah, that's how I got into needlepoint. It feels like so long ago, but it's only been 2 years. This summer will make 2 years for me. Born on the East Coast, but spent a good chunk of my childhood in California. And when I was 12, my family moved to Bangkok, Thailand, and we lived there. I was there for 6 years. My family stayed for 10. And when I graduated from high school, I moved back to the US and I was living in California for several years. And then I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina in 2020. So I've been here for, it'll be 6 years next month. What about you? How did you get into it?
Well, like you, I've always been like a crafty person. I was always doing things as a kid, like trying out new things. And um, I was doing some hand embroidery a few years ago and was really enjoying that. And then I had remembered that a coworker of mine had been doing needlepoint and she had moved away and I saw seen her on Instagram that she was doing stockings for her kids and I was like, "Oh, those are so beautiful." And she like had this vision of like a family of a set of family stockings and I was like, "I want that. Like I need that on my mantle." And so I started looking into it and I got some sticker shock because I like kind of like the crafty person where I'm like, "Oh, I'll DIY things." And so the sticker shock of needlepoint, I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to invest in this if I don't know that I love it." And so I kind of put it aside for a while and like, but it was always there, just like at the back of my head. And then a couple years later, I was scrolling on TikTok and started getting needlepoint videos of like basic basket weave and like what is a canvas and all these things. And I was like, oh, like maybe I should look at this again. And I was telling my husband, and he was like, you've been talking about this for 2 years now. Like, I think it's time you make the investment and like just go for it. And I was like, I don't know, like I'm not convinced yet. So I got some blank mesh off of Amazon and got some I didn't even do paint markers or anything. I got like not even actual micron pens, just like La pens, those like colored micron pens, and I made my own canvas with pens. Um, got some DMC pearl cotton and I like went for it and I loved how repetitive and like meditative it was. And it was just like really easy to do. I didn't have to think about it. And the pattern was done. It wasn't like embroidery where you have to like think about which stitch you're going to do where and like how they're going to like work together. Cause I was just basket weaving and like I really loved it. And so once I did that first canvas, I was like, all right, I think I can do this. And I ordered stockings. Um,
My gosh, what?
I ordered stockings. They came. I didn't like the font that the Alanis had used for our names, so I painted over them and like charted out my own names. And I like made changes to the designs on them. And like I think about that now and I'm like, man, that was bold to just like get my first canvas and be like, I'm gonna change all these things and I don't know what I'm doing. But that's, I mean, now it's been 2 years and I'm so hooked and it's funny because my husband, we'll be once the kids are asleep, we'll be watching TV or whatever, and he's like, "What did you used to do before needlepoint?" He's like, "When we were watching TV or hanging out at night, like I don't remember what you used to do before you had this craft." And it's just like part of like my life now, and now it's gonna be hopefully, our career. So it is crazy to think that like 2 years ago I had no idea what it was or how to do it, and now it's just like such a big part of my life. And I've
Yeah.
met so many friends and met you and
And I
but
feel like I've known you forever.
I know it's crazy, right? Like
Yeah. So that's like really crazy. If anyone that's listening is new to needlepoint, like we all know, like stockings are like the pinnacle. They're like a lot of the reasons why people get into needlepoint. They see the stocking
yeah.
and they have this like aspirational goal, but they know like, all right, that might be year three for me, or maybe year two. But what made you think that like, I guess that's how you got into it. So you figured we're just gonna start with what I want to do, right? Is that what made you want to start with?
Like I just don't think I knew. Like I didn't know about doing ornaments. I didn't know about like I'd seen videos of like basket weave and of like setting up your canvas and like how to strand things. But I didn't know more about like needlepoint culture and of like how long things were going to take. And I think if I had known all of that, I would have been a little bit detracted from like wanting to do it or like jumping into like such a big project. Um, but I didn't like it was like ignorance was bliss at that point for me because I got the ones that I wanted and like I went for it and yeah, now and like I think about it now and I'm like, man, that's starting with a stocking is. a lot, you know? But I think it also kind of gave me confidence afterwards to be like, oh yeah, I can do ornaments and I can do other things. But I definitely went in like I got stockings and got the LaPointe Village and I got like the Christmas bow. And I really like, just like went all in once I started.
I love that. And I think people should take inspiration from that because too much in needlepoint, you hear people tell you, like, this is for beginners and you don't want to do this. Like, just wait till you get to the beading, just wait till you get to the ribbon. But what I hear a lot just from our group members and different friends of ours through needlepoint, they've shared that, like, the quicker you kind of just bite the bullet, the
Mhm.
easier it is. But the more you work it up in your mind, the
Yeah,
more feels like some unattainable thing that's out there in the universe. Like I could never do my own finishing. I could never do bead work. I could never do ribbon work. And time and time again, when we host these classes that we've been doing, we hear people say, like, wow, that's not as hard as I thought it was going to be. Like I could have been doing this a long time ago. And
yeah,
sometimes it's just a matter of um, that having the gumption to either figure out whose tutorial you want to follow and kind of take, your a stab at it. I know for me, I'm a hands-on learner, so I learn really well when someone can show me in person. Sometimes the videos just with needlepoint being so detailed, sometimes I don't pick up on it quick enough. So I'm glad, like for instance, with finishing, I waited until I took an in-person class to try it. 'Cause I think I would have been really overwhelmed if I tried to just follow a tutorial. That's just how my brain works. Um, but yeah, the quicker that you can start painting your own canvases, trying your hand at charting and all the other little things that go into needlepoint, I feel like the easier it ends up being in the end.
yeah, I think absolutely. And I think the other thing also is like before I started, I didn't because I didn't know so many things about needlepoint in my head, I was just like, well, if I mess this up, I'll fix it. Like the the bigger picture of it all, like the cost of it all, like I wasn't there yet. So I was like, I'll just fix it. I'll figure it out. And like I think that really helped. I think now I get more intimidated being like, man, if I like mess this up, I'm gonna have wasted this thread that was like this much, and then I'm gonna have to like finish and like refinish and like I get a little bit overwhelmed at times, but like the beauty of like being a beginner is like you're supposed to mess up and like you're supposed to change things and like that's how you learn and figure it all out. And so yeah, I think that it probably did help me in the long run working on like a really big project like those. And I think I was also really excited about it. And so I was like really motivated to keep going. If I'd started with something small that I wasn't as excited about, I don't know that the excitement it would have worn off. I may not have like been as into it. So
Mhm.
I think if you are a beginner looking to get into it, pick a canvas that you love, pick a design that you're really excited about. Even if you feel like it's going to be a little bit intimidating, like because you're so excited about it, you'll keep moving forward with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And to add on to that, the quicker you can find community in needlepoint, the more you'll feel encouraged to continue.
Yeah.
Because you're going to want to chat with your friends about it. They're going to share with you the things that they've learned, and it kind of it feeds the monster in a way, but it's a positive thing. It's a good way to spend your time.
So tell us a little bit about why you started like stitching in color. Like what was the impetus for like, I should do this?
So I started hearing rumblings about Stitch clubs. I didn't know that those existed. And I found my way into a couple virtual Stitch clubs that were held on Zoom and really enjoyed my time getting to know people that were into needlepoint because no one in my day-to-day life, none of my besties were into it. They were actually, I don't even know that I shared with many people in my life that I was needlepointing. So I just was looking for an outlet to just share and talk and nerd out about this new thing that I found myself obsessed with. And so on these Zoom calls, I just started to notice like, wow, I found myself wondering like, where was the diversity? I'm sure it had a lot to do with just the groups that I was in, and maybe those groups just didn't have as many POC stitchers in them. I feel like even just in the 2 short years that we've been stitching, we've seen a huge influx in POC stitchers entering the chat, so to say.
Mhm.
I feel like every day on my feed, I'm seeing a new person of color needlepointing, which was not what I was seeing when I first started my needlepoint TikTok. So there was a handful of people that I was following at the time that were of color. And I don't know, I just kind of started getting this idea that I couldn't let go of that was like, why don't you just see if these people ever want to hop on a Zoom and just chat? And that's just what I did. I reached out individually to the 4 or 5 people that I was following at the time, that were of color, that were needlepointing and posting about their needlepoint. And I just asked them would they be interested in hopping on Zoom sometime and getting to know each other. And people were receptive to it. And they were like, oh, yeah, like just let me know when. So ended up finding that Facebook was an easy place for us to coordinate to try to figure out a good day to do it. And I don't even know that I even had the idea for it to become a reoccurring thing as much as it was just like, let's just try it out, see what comes of it.
Yeah.
Um, and in kind of collecting people to join the call, I stumbled upon one of your videos. And at the time, you weren't showing your face in any of your clips.
I
And so,
was not.
and you didn't have your name up because I feel like your name would have, I would have kind of known like you must be of color or have some sort of, cultural background. And so, I just saw your handle, Golden Heart, but I saw your hands in the clip. And this is how like this is how much I was scoping out the scene, just trying to find anyone that I could that was of color to join the group because I figured come one, come all. And so I slid into Zahabia's DMs and I was like, hey, I think you're stitching with brown hands over there. Do you happen to be of color? Would you like to join my group? And you were really receptive to it, and I'll let you kind of share your perspective on that. But, anyways, to answer your question, that's kind of where Stitching in Color came from within me. It was just an interest in building a needlepoint community, connecting with like-minded needlepointers, and wondering, are there more people that are into this hobby that look like me and share a similar background to me? And what started out as like I think 4 or 5 people that I reached out to originally. Now we have like, I think just shy of 300 members on our Facebook page. So it just shows how much community matters and how much inclusivity matters and how many messages we get where people talk about seeing you needlepoint made me know that I can needlepoint because it's not just for this person or that person. Like I'm included in this as well. And that's kind of how we came across our slogan, needlepoint for all, because we know that we've experienced that as we've seen Stitching and Color grow because you've been around since day one.
Baby.
Yeah, day one, first person on the call, matter of fact.
I was ready. I was ready. Yeah, I think for me also, I had been, a longtime lurker of needlepoint TikTok, and finally I was like, I kind of want to join in the fun. I was very shy, did not want to have my face on there. And so I made a new TikTok account just for needlepoint, and I was posting videos just of my work and my projects. But it gave me like a little bit of a chance to connect with people more, and like chat with people and whatever. And I didn't have community here that like there was no stitch clubs, local stitch clubs that I could join. Um, and none of my friends in real life were into needlepoint, and they would all listen very happily and be very happy for me, but like no one, like you said, like no one wants to nerd out when they like don't know what it's about. And so I think I was also searching for like people that I could just like chat with and like people that would be as into this as I was. um and so when you had messaged me, I was like, yes, like this could be it. And I remember I was so excited. I like logged on, you know me, I'm like 5 minutes early. If you're early, you're on time. And so I was like sitting there waiting, and I was like, am I the only one here? Like, did they cancel? Like, is this not a thing now? And I remember that first meeting, I was sitting in my car, my kids were in an activity, and I was in the car. I was like, I've got 30 minutes to sit here and chat with everybody. And those first few meetings, like there weren't a lot of us, but people kept coming back and people kept adding, and then like they just kept getting bigger, and the conversations they kept getting like deeper every week, and people were talking about not just like their needlepoint and their projects, but like other experiences and like experiences that we have as POC that not everyone can understand and relate to. And it was like just I don't know, it's been so beautiful to see how people have connected over something as simple as needlepoint has really led into like something that's deeper and bigger and more beautiful. Um, so I'm so grateful to you for like taking the plunge and starting this group and creating this community for everybody.
And I'm so grateful that, you know, it brought all these beautiful people into my life, these connections that I did not see. I figured get a chance to chat with people here and there about needlepoint, but it
Yeah.
has really brought in some of my best friends
Yeah.
into my life.
Yeah.
Introduced me to you. And so, I mean, I feel like I started it. It took a life of its own. Like this is not my
Yeah.
make, it's everyone's contribution. That's what community means. Now we can chat a little bit more about our collaborative side and
Yeah.
how, our relationship was forged as friends and then business partners.
Yes. I remember you called me one day. It was like mid-morning. I dropped my kids off for to school. I was home with my little one. And I think I was just like cooking dinner or something. And I was like, oh, like I wonder why she's calling. Like this is people don't call nowadays, right? Like everybody will text, but no one calls. Arielle, listen, if you get in her phone book, like if you're on one of her contacts, like she will call you. Okay. And so I picked up and I was like, hey, like, what's wrong? Is everything okay? And she's like, no, everything's fine. Like, I was just calling to say hi. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, this is so nice. No one does this anymore. And I think that we chatted for like, I don't know, an hour and a half or something. And just like that just kept happening then. Like every few days we would just like call and chat and like get to know each other. And um it was just like we just became friends just from afar. And yeah, like our conversations just kept getting longer and like better and deeper. And it was just like friends from the internet. And I don't know, I think the next part was that, was it stitching time?
Well, so after we had kind of connected a few times over the phone, you had asked for my address. You're like, I have something small for you. I just want to send it. What's your address? I'm like, okay, like that's so sweet. So I sent the address and I think I must have forgotten about it. And I'm checking the mail one day and I see like a package, like it's not like an envelope. I'm like, what in the world? Like, what does the hobbyist send me? And it was just so heartfelt. I mean, there was a canvas that you designed for your daughter that says you are magic, and I commented on it and had said how much I liked it and I thought it was so cute. And so when I opened up the package, I see that you had surprised me by painting me that canvas in colors that you thought that I would like because I love purple. And so that was just so sweet. And you wrote this really heartfelt note that, to know me is to know that I'm a crybaby. So to say that I cried, it means a lot, but it also happens very often. But it really touched my heart. Like I knew that we were starting a friendship, but it just felt like deeper in that moment. I'm like, oh, this is my girl for real. Like this is so sweet. And you were just very open in that note and you talked about how much stitching and color has meant to you and how you have really appreciated being able to connect with like-minded stitchers and things like that. And that was the moment that I think the first moment I remember realizing how big stitching and color was as far as like how impactful it was in a positive for people. And I was just like, I remember calling, a friend and being like, this is crazy. Like, I never thought that this was going to be the impact. And so I think I must have called you also, like, right after I opened it and, like, I'm crying. This is so beautiful. And one of the points that Zahabi and I have connected on is we have, both dealt with loss in our family. And, I feel like our connection just got from my side deep at that point. Like we started sharing a lot more about some of the things that we share and that we have in common.
Yeah.
And my recollection is shortly after that, you had mentioned that you love snail mail and that you have always wanted to do like a gift exchange and you wondered if we could do one for Stitching and Color and you asked if you could host it. And I was so happy because people were always giving ideas like, oh, we need to do this, you got to come out with this and launch that. And I'm like, this is so overwhelming. Like, I wasn't intending on doing all of this stuff, but to have someone come with an idea and say, like, I can do it. I can, be the lead on this. And I was like, by all means, like, please. And so that was our first time working together, and kind of coordinating that. And I was able to see like that you were just as passionate about stitching in color as I was, like you felt the need and you felt like the passion that I have, not just like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like you were like in it with me. And I feel like that was my first indication of like, yeah, like if I ever were to do a retreat or do like an event, I feel like I would have to tap into Zahabiyah for help because I felt so overwhelmed by the idea of doing an event, um, especially not having had been to a retreat, a needlepoint retreat myself. I didn't know what it all entailed. I didn't know what people expected out of one. And so, yeah, that's kind of how we started collaborating and working together. And we went from like, I feel like friends and acquaintances to like quickly becoming almost like besties and family
Yeah,
members.
absolutely. Absolutely. Um, yeah, I think that after Stitch in Time, we were like, okay, this went really well. Like people really enjoyed it. They had so much fun. Like the boxes people were sending each other were just like so beautiful and thoughtful. And we're like this group, like I think after that we could really see like it wasn't just us, like everyone else in the group also felt so strongly about the group and about each other. And people kept asking for like a retreat and like I think we both wanted one, but we were a little bit intimidated by the idea of like putting one on. And then finally I was like, we just have to do it. Like no one else is going to do it, but like we have to do it. And I think we decided, and I think it took us about a good maybe like we started about 6 months out, but I feel like we got really serious about it like 4 months out. We're like, "Oh, okay, it's crunch time now. Like we got to get all of our ducks in a row." Um, and I think I don't know, we have a good workflow where we have our skills and our skills kind of offset each other. And we're like-minded in our like attention to detail and creativity. And we kind of like we feed off of each other on those aspects and like keep like expanding, like, oh, we should do this, and then we can do this, and then this. And like we just both get really excited about all those like small details that like really pull things together. And so I think the retreat, I think we kind of surprised ourselves at the end of the retreat, honestly. And then so after the retreat, then we were like, okay, like we could do this. Like, even though we were cross country and like not working side by side, we were still able to put on a really like successful event where people they came, they met, they really enjoyed themselves. I think everyone left with like a deeper connection with people and like I don't know. I don't know what makes retreats successful, but I think we like checked the boxes. So then after that, I remember you called me and you're like, if we did this, like we worked so well together, like I think we could take on the next level. And I was definitely a little hesitant because I was like, we're cross country. Like, how does that work? How do you start a business with somebody when you are in different time zones? And I was like, I've got these three crazy kids running around. Like, I don't know. But you were so like confident about it and like so sure that we could make this work that finally I was like, all right, like we can do this. Like if you think we can do this, like we can do this. Um, and so our new venture now is the House of Color Collective. We are putting together a collective of POC designers and really it stemmed from Stitching in Color and all of like the magic that we saw there. We kept seeing in our Zooms and at the retreat, people would share these designs that they're working on. And a lot of them were just things that they had designed themselves, that they were like, this is my background, this is my culture. I couldn't find anything for it. So I made it, like it wasn't there. And so I designed it. I did it myself. And a few of the members, they have their own like Etsy's or they were selling just like over direct message and things like that. But the thing that we kept hearing was like, I really don't like painting. I really like love this design, but I really don't want to get into like the admin of like ordering things and having to ship things out, and like the rest of it all is just like too overwhelming. And like there was just so much artistry there, but like no one wanted the admin, I think, of it. And so we were like, all right, like give us the admin. Like let us do all those things for you because like these designs are so beautiful and they're important and like they're resonating with people and they need to be out there. So like let us help you get them out there. And so that was kind of the impetus of our collective. And I'm so excited about like what's to come from it.
Absolutely, I agree. We're not only like solving a problem, but we're also filling a gap in the industry. And with needlepoint blowing up as quickly as it is, I mean, we all know the shortages that are going on, and we all know that anytime you go to an LNS nowadays, it's way more packed than it was when you initially got into needlepoint. So that just means that more people are stitching, which means that they want more options and they want to be able to walk in a store and see something that resonates with them, their background, their travels, whatever it may be. And, our take on that is why not have it come from an authentic place, come from a designer that has a lived experience and is conveying their culture, through their art on canvas. So we're very excited to bring that. We have some really fun things in the vault from our women that we've signed, and Zahabi and I also do a little bit of designing as well, and so we can't wait for you to see some of that stuff. And what's really fun too is that it's not all cultural stuff. It's not all steeped in our background necessarily. It also encompasses just our personal interests. It's more broad than that, and so that's why we can't wait to bring it to all needlepointers because we feel like whether you're black, brown, or anything in between, um, you can find something at House of Color that resonates with you and that you would really be excited to stitch. So yeah, like that's kind of why we're doing this video series. We wanted to have a place to kind of like brain dump and share and open up about the things that we're learning behind the scenes, the things that are working, the things that we had to pivot and change. I mean, we've been working together and building this idea out for several months now. So I'm really excited that we're starting this series so early on because in the future we can look back and see how far we've come. And we are newbies. Neither of us have ever owned a needlepoint business before, but we feel like we have something new and fresh to offer, something that's needed. So we can't wait to enter the market and kind of bring a new spin on what needlepoint can look like in the future. And that's my TED Talk.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, that's how, Zahabi and I kind of started Needlepoint on our own and met each other. And even though we live a whole country away, we're literally on opposite sides of the country. We have forged this really meaningful friendship between us and a very successful partnership as well because we do work so well together and we balance each other out. So I tell her all the time, like, there's no way I could do any of this without her help. And yeah, there would be no such thing as everything that's gone down if it wasn't for Zahavia being in my corner. So I'm grateful for you.
I'm grateful for you. Things to look forward to. I guess we'll have some samples maybe soon to show you guys and some sneak peeks into designs and some customs that we have happening. We'll start introducing our designers. I think we're going to have all of them on to talk about their collections, like their inspiration. Um, what else are we going to have?
You should bring some group members to say hello sometime.
Yeah, yeah, just to get more. I mean, yeah, listen, our group is awesome. There's like some of the most fun people on there.
We have some cool people to pull from. So between that and um, our collective members, but mostly, the point of this series is really just to introduce you guys to the world that we're building and
Yes.
um,
The trials, the tribulations, the triumphs,
the blood, the tears.
all the tears. There have been a lot of tears already.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we often make jokes about like we got to write this down like for our documentary, like
Yeah,
obviously documentary that's never coming out, but like if there was ever a story told on the makings of, man, the tears.
the tears, the tears.
But a lot of which have been happy tears too.
Yeah, it's definitely happy tears. And I think that we do work really well that we balance out our sad tears. So if one of us is freaking out, the other one pulls it together.
Yes,
And then we take turns.
yes, that's so true. And that's like I feel like that's just indicative of like our balance because
Yeah,
I feel like in the moments that I'm crumbling and I'm like, it's all just too much, you're just like, it's okay, honey. You're doing the best you can. And then same for me, like the
yeah,
moments that you're just like, I can't do anymore. Like this is a lot. And it's just like, you're okay. Like we get to
yeah,
make it up as we go, you
yeah.
know?
And we
That,
got this, and we get to balance each other out and like, move things off of our plates when it's too much. And I think about people who are doing this alone because there are so many new, e-commerce sites and LNS is opening up and the people that are doing it on their own, like, man, major props to you because we could
absolutely.
not.
No, I
We
know I
need each
couldn't have
other.
no way.
No.
So
Thank you guys so much for tuning in for today's video.
we can't wait to have you guys back. We have more in store. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow us over on TikTok and on Instagram. House of Color NDLPT on TikTok and Instagram. See you guys there.
We'll see you soon.
As Zahabiyah would say, toodles.
Toodles.